Okay, are we good? I think we're good. What's going on, stream? How you guys doing? Hey, RMS, what's happening? Uh, thanks for popping by. It is, Wednesday, patch day. We have a bit of a short stream this evening. I do have some work I'm in the middle of, so we're going to be on here long enough to go over the Wizard Mastery, and then I'm probably going to sign off a bit early, because I really should get this job done. I only have till Monday, and it's proven to be a bit of an undertaking, because I have to re-record some stuff, because background noise. Anyhow, that's neither here nor there. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Alright, let's see what they did with the patch now. PTR server, yeah, we don't need the disclaimer. Oh, by the way, when you start the game client now, there's an early access disclaimer that pops up. In this update contains major revisions for the wizard, level cap to 40. Okay, the wizard has received a major update. Wizards now play as Elementalist or Spellblade, Spellblade being melee oriented. Interesting. Trainer NPCs for 31 to 40 can be found in Sky Durban. Makes sense. Mastery user interface. Mastery options for Warrior, Paladin, Direlord, Shaman, Cleric, Druid, and Wizard. Right, that makes all 7. Bug fixes. Fixed an issue that was breaking tab targeting when near other players that had a pet. That's cool. Fixed an issue that was preventing the higher ranks of some abilities from casting properly. Always a good thing. Player character to sometimes continue drowning even after leaving the water. I've never experienced that, but that's an odd one. Fixed an issue that was breaking description information on many class abilities. Fixed an issue that was breaking description information. What does that mean? Someone forgot to turn word wrap on? Fixed an issue that was breaking description information. Isn't it just text? Huh, okay. Fix for an issue that would cause unlocked mastery nodes to not always apply their benefits after zone. Okay, gotcha. Alright, classes. We're not focusing on all the classes today, so it's just gonna be Wizard and Warrior. Everything else you guys can go to the website and read. Holy smokes, that's a lot of changes to the Cleric. A few changes. Oh, let's see what they did with the tanks. Bloodfiend should now be usable at level 1. Essence, okay. Essence indicator should now remain active. Phantom should no longer add multiple version of itself. The feedback from Phantom recoil has been increased. Sanguine Blast may now be learned. Corrupt Blood should now have the right description. Okay. Paladin. Corrected an issue where Righteous Flame procs were reducing threat instead of adding to it. So it was just the Paladin that had the D threat, not the Direlord. Fix for Radiant Lance, not applying bonus threat. Light Hone Spear 1 and 2 now refer to the ability they're modifying. The wrath costs for higher ranks of Radiant Lance and Light Hone Spears applied have been adjusted. Okay, that's good. Wrathful Aegis should now do damage to enemies affected by it. That's good. Oath of Conviction should now properly damage the enemy instead of the Paladin. Okay. I mean, if you're religious enough, you have been known to be flagellant. Or flagellant, however you want to pronounce it. Just made a new warrior, did a level boost. Mighty Blow is working now. Right on, awesome. Hey Vendini, wait until you read warrior, make sure you compare it to last week's notes. Oh no. Okay. Rogue, nope. Shaman, nope. Summoner, nope. Warrior. Corrected the description of Hammering Blow to remove references to a buff that no longer exists. That's fine. That should have happened. Guarded Strike 1 should now be properly usable at level 1. Okay. Mighty Blow should now properly apply its damage at the end of its cast time. Okay. Quell should now properly strike its target when used in combat. Okay. Oh, so Quell wasn't meant to miss? That's interesting. if I'm reading that right. Because we missed on quite a few quells. Striker breaking should now properly strike its target and hopefully break something of theirs too. Wait a minute, what? Striker breaking did land. Okay. Taunt should now more reliably place the warrior at the top of the enemy's threat list. This ability now requires the warrior to be facing their target. Didn't it used to be facing our... Oh, that's what you meant, Vindini. They already said this. They said this last week. Because we were making comments about everything having to be facing the target. Assault should now correctly grant a bonus battle point when used. That's phenomenal. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, I'm confused. Hang on. Assault always added a battle point. It was the Vicious Strike Assault combo. That must be what they mean. Because if I go in there and use Assault and I get 2 battle points for the one use, that's crazy. Assault was always 1 battle point and always gave 1 battle point. But the new Vicious Strike, if paired with Assault, gave you 2 battle points if they landed. I don't know why they're saying Assault has the bonus battle point. This might have been written in haste. Just saying. Block bonuses from Proficiency 1, 2, and 3 should now be correctly applied. Hold the line should now be properly added to the Codex. Skillful Strike should now properly apply a bonus to accuracy. This stuff sounds the same. The bottom half, yeah, it's the same as last week's. Huh. Okay. Interesting. I gotta see this one here. I gotta see this one here. If this is either poorly written or they goofed and put it on the wrong ability. The wizard class has received a major update that includes the addition of many new abilities and mastery options. We already read this. This is an initial pass, right? Wizard trainers have new, but right. All of the abilities have been removed, may no longer be used, right? There are some wizard mastery options that are currently not working or partially working, right? Because they don't, yeah, okay. Mastery unlocks that are not working yet. Holy smokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's like all of them. What? That's like all of them. That's like roughly how many abilities everybody has on the left and right side when you look at ability, the diamonds, abilities that are unlocked. They only have like 10 to 14. Mastery unlocks that are partially working. Okay, well, I guess we should read these. Rise, Relenting Lightning, Thunderclap, Omnimental, Battle Mage, Elemental Reaper, Studied Defenses, Unwavering Mind, Arcane Deflection, Sword and Gauntlet. Man, part of me wants to play Spellblade. I want to be a sword and glove class throwing fireballs. Crystalline Lance, Barbed Lances, Mastery unlocks that are partially working. Arcane Binder will not add a resistance to dispel effects yet. Okay. That's the root, right, Binder? I think that's the root. Storm Blast will not delay enemy... Oh, kick me out. Other aspects of this ability should be working. Stable Mana 1 and 2 will not add to spell range right now. Other aspects of these masteries should be working. Adept Conjuration will not modify the range of spells right now. Okay. Other notes. Snow Clone will currently summon a training dummy model as a placeholder until the visual... Oh, okay. I think I like the idea of summoning training dummies. Unstable Vortex does not yet have a visual model for its vortex, but the effect should still function. Okay. Well, I mean, it is unstable. If you can't see it, you can't see it. Itemization. Updated the rarity of the starter backpack. Updated the rarity of the starter backpack? What does that even mean? Like the backpack that you start with should be like specially tagged? That must be what they're talking about, is it? That must be what they're talking about. That doesn't make sense otherwise. The pitted brass great blade may now only be equipped in the primary hand. Pitted brass. Where does that come from? There's a one-hand pitted brass. That comes from... Is that the crypt? Pitted brass? Where does pitted brass drop? Smoldering? Pitted brass. No, it's a 20s weapon, right? Pitted brass, pitted brass. Why do I want to say smoldering? I think it's smoldering. Thorn steel mace will now correctly identify as a mace instead of trying to pass itself off as a hammer. Okay. NPCs, Dobie and Yao should now be trackable for adventurers who need additional assistance in locating... Dobian's a quest NPC? We've never had a quest for him. Must be monk or caster related. Snakes bound throughout Terminus will no longer damage themselves. Okay. Unless, of course, the snake is an Ouroboros. You guys familiar with Ouroboroses from Final Fantasy? They're the big, giant, mushroom, tentacle-looking things that just blow up everything. They just explode, point-blank AoE everywhere. That's where they got their reference from. That's funny. That's why they're saying the snake won't hurt itself. An Ouroboros doesn't care. It hurts everything in the area. If you don't know, feel free to look that up right now. The Bears of Terminus no longer carry invisible shields. Okay. Fix some more missing collision on Thronefast and Black Rose Keep assets. Applied some optimizations to the Portal Ruin. More optimizations are planned for this area before it is complete. Okay, let's go back in. We have our wizard. Oh, this render issue, man. It's gotta get fixed. It's like low pop and it still takes forever sometimes. Okay, so we need to go to... We need to go out to the town to the level dude, right? I'm not gonna go out and kill the level 5 and we can just talk to the NPC. Cool spell icons though. I like the images. Why do I have a full set of spells at level 1? I am level 1, right? Blazing Arc. Crystalline Arc. Crackling Arc. Feeble Flame. Frost Arrow. Okay, so these are the Spell Blade, these are the Elementalist. What are these? Feeble Frost. Feeble Flame? Feeble Flame. Huh. Okay. Interesting. They start you with a whole battery of spells. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't want anybody typing, oh, but you're not playing a wizard. Shush. There's common sense and there's common sense. We got that bug where we can see through buildings and up and down floors. I don't know what they did to bring that on, but they gotta fix it. Oh, did they move him? Where's he now? Where's the level dude, chat? He used to be right here. Rude. Is the market keeper? Interesting. This guy new, or was he in here with the last update? I didn't know the market was in. Where? Great. Where's the level, dude? Would he be out by the entrance? Look, see, we're seeing NPC names inside. We're not supposed to be able to see through walls. Hey Zish, what's going on? Oh, he's not out here with Aradune. Did the level up NPC go away? I think he got DC'd. Hopefully he sends me an invite when he gets back on. They've reached the number of level 20s they needed. Looks like the NPC didn't make it back from the crash, or she's on break. Okay. Man, I didn't want to level to 5, man. They don't want me going over the masteries, where none of them are working. Tavern Keeper, Treasure Hunter, Bard, Armorsmith, Weaponsmith, Merchant, Supplier, Vendor, Zippity Doodah, D Lights Fires, Curator Galen, no level up tune. Alright. What time is it? What's that? Hang on a second, chat. Why did I get that? So I don't. Okay. I will have to fix that. Alright, let's go throw some fireballs and see if we can get to level 5. They are manually spawned, so if the zone went down, a GM would have to come and put her back in. Okay. There's one in the cave by the Dire trainer. What's my fastest way to get there? I don't remember my fastest way to the Dire trainer. I know the rogue. Oh, it's up the Mage Island, right? It's up the tower. Wait, no it isn't. That's the Necro. Where's the Dire place? Ah, it doesn't matter. Whatever. Let's go kill some stuff. Oh, in the Barrow Dark. Oh, gotcha. Okay, we could do that. Oh, if I can get past those mobs. Alright. Let's see if we can get past those mobs. I'd rather do that than level. And I'm being truly serious. I want to go through the mastery stuff for you guys for stream, but I don't have a lot of time. Where my warrior started? Isn't that where the rogue is? Over here? Are they in the same place? You mean down here in the cave? Oh, no, no. Right, the warrior started in Barrowdark. Right. Never mind, never mind. Yes, 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 right. The warrior started in Barrowdark. I thought warrior, I thought here. You meant Barrowdark. My bad. Let's go to Barrowdark. We're going to Barrowdark, chat. We're going to Barrowdark. Now we have to get past everything. And I'm guessing odds are slim that people are up here actually killing stuff. Oh, there's a skeleton corpse. Spider's up. Skeleton corpse, okay. So far, so great. Cultists are down, fantastic. I've never seen an ore node out front here. I've seen it back against the wall, but I've never seen an ore node there. I've never seen any node there. Fun fact, the sword is not equipable by wizards. You're right. There's no wizard tag on there. Because you need the sword oh wait, we have the sword proficiency. Wait, what? VR, what are you doing? Wait, and we have spells in our inventory? What is going on here? We start with like 15 spells. So if you start a wizard, chat, don't take your sword off. You might not be able to put it back on. Where's the dude at, Necro? There's no dude here. Dire Lord, right here. Oh, the trainer. Wait, this is the trainer. Oh, these are the scrolls. Wait, where's the Dire Lord trainer? Necro's over here. I don't know where the Dire Lord NPC is. What happens when you don't play a Dire Lord? Paladin, Paladin. I'm not seeing anybody with trainer in the name. I'm not seeing any trainers. Okay, I guess we'll try and kill some stuff here. I have no idea what I'm doing. Why am I not using mana? I didn't see anything in the patch notes about unlimited spells. No cost. No cost. No cost. No cost. No cost. No cost. Everything is no cost. Hey, everything's free. Hey. Wait, what does this stuff do? Strike your target. I'm invincible. Kinda, sorta, not really. Actually, not really. We are taking some damage. We should be level 5 in a moderate amount of time at this rate. Oh, I got a new mouth. Skeletons. Yes, Faye. Yes, just the wizard. Sweaty wristbands, okay. It is quite a bit of fire, yes, for no mana. None of my starting abilities have a mana cost, I'm guessing for the moment. And I'm pretty sure that'll change. We're trying to get to level 5 so we can go into the mastery system and take a look. See what the wizards are going to get. I'm trying to do this with all the classes as the mastery systems come out for them. We've done it for the other 6 classes. It's not for this guy. Oh, that's pretty cool. Sure, why not? Excuse me. This might not work. That was a big hit from him. That was a ouch. Oh, he hits me no matter. Oh no. Ah, doesn't matter. Whatever. Let's go to Mage Island. Oh, we're already here. Look at that. How convenient. I prefer it over here. That's why we lost. We didn't ever buff on. Hey, Motive. Change the schools to get the buff? Wait, what? What do you mean? Oh, mix them up, you mean? Fire, cold, and lightning? Alright, we can do that. That's 4, 5, and 6. What is the 1-second fire spell cast with no cooldown? You mean that one? I think so. So the wizard mastery came into the game for the first time today, but a lot of stuff with the wizard is not working properly. I'm fairly certain this is part of it because all 8 of these abilities have no mana cost, which makes no sense to me. but I'm sure they will in the future. They just wanted to get the mastery system in the game. And I want to be able to take a look at it for the chat or for anybody who's interested in checking it out. Because you guys might not be playing, and you guys might be interested in playing a wizard, and you might want to know what the mastery window's all about. So here we are. I myself am not going to be playing a wizard, so no big deal to me. I'm just doing this for you guys. We've already done the other 6 classes so far, so... Whoops. I mean, as a wizard, I'm hitting for more damage. I'm hitting for like 10 times the amount of damage on a starting warrior. So, I don't think that's intended. Oh, come on, there's no way. That was nuts. Okay, so they kept the life burning. Okay, that's good. How many more classes are missing mastery? So we have 7. I think there's 6. The Ranger, the Rogue, the Monk, the Necro, the Enchanter, and the Summoner. Slash the target with flames, dealing 80% weapon damage, additional 20%. Your next 2 shock or cold spellblade abilities will be increased by +9. So I guess it wants us to cycle the 3 of these. Interesting. Alright, let's see what happens on this guy. Fire. Oh, wow. That's not good at all. We are dead. Can I root before he kills us? Yep. Can I run to safety before he kills us? Do not know. Can't blame me for trying. Spam that fire. So yeah, we have over half the classes right now with their mastery. Now, mind you, the masteries are still works in progress. So even though some of the mastery stuff might not be working properly, a lot of that could change entirely. Skills can be removed, replaced, modified, etc. Nothing is in a final form at the moment. But the exciting thing is that we've got them, and we have more than half the classes with them right now. I will say though, they haven't said a whole lot about the mobs and the current mechanics right now with the unified system. There's been nothing in the past couple of updates specifically about that. So I don't know if they've kind of moved that to the back burner. Maybe they've taken their focus off of that. I'm not sure if I think the mobs are where they should be. I mean, it's just whatever, I'm just one person, my opinion, but I said this the other day. I don't think enough people are dying in-game. I think there needs to be more deaths. People need to be complaining about dying all the time. And nobody's complaining about dying all the time. It doesn't even come up in chat. Actually, what time of day is it? 3 p.m. What level's that dude? Level 20. What's he doing out here? Flash, who, all, wizard, D. Well, you, pulled quite a few. Level 20. What is happening? Why are there level 20s on Mage Island? Maybe they're farming armor. Hey Snaps, what's happening? People are complaining about the machine. I mean, it's day one. It's not intentional. It'll get fixed. People need to smarten up. Or grow up. One or the other. Take your pick. Or stop playing. Lord, they're acting like their life depends on it. Shaman's 26. I thought you had Burnout. I thought you stopped playing for now. You still have your appointment tomorrow? Wishing you well, man. I'm just trying to get to level 5 so we can look at the mastery system. I gotta read this again. Your next 2 shock or cold spellblade abilities will be increased in potency by +9. The lingering effect increases the critical strike chance of your next 2 fire or shock. Okay, so fire is supposed to light up cold and lightning for crits, and cold is supposed to light up fire and lightning, but lightning doesn't look like it. Oh no, that's cold. Okay, sorry. So fire lights up cold and lightning. Lightning lights up. No, it's frost. Do we not have? Fire, cold, static. Fire, cold, static. Fire, cold, cold. Okay, sure. What do I know? I'm not a wizard. I just play one on TV. I think only Summoner and Necro are missing mastery. Summoner, Necro, Ranger, Rogue, Monk, Enchanter. 6 of them. We have 7 masteries right now, and we're missing 6. We have all 3 tanks, all 3 heals, and the wizard is the first DPS class. Pathing bug hasn't been fixed, it seems. Or unless that was intentional. We were talking about that last night. Almost level 5. Oh, green or white? Come on now. Where be the blue? Never. Option. What's that? Debuff, probably? Expulsion? What is expulsion? Don't know. Sure, we'll deal with lag. Oh no. Oh, what is happening? Server's crashing again? How's that possible? There's low population. We're going down, chat. We're going down. Thankfully, we're not level 5 yet, so we won't leave our body behind. And there's the drop. No server? Nope, server. Interesting. Everyone crash? Probably. Excuse me. Few more kills, chat. Okay, now we're going to go take a look at the mastery window. Let's jump in. So first off, there's no center, so they haven't figured out the core center abilities yet. There will be abilities in the center. They're just not here at the moment. Alright, so we know one side is the Elementalist side, Focus Blade. So this is going to be the Spell Blade side, and this is going to be the Elementalist. Oh, look at that crisscross. I don't know how I feel about that. That's cold, lightning, and fire. These modifiers must be intermixable. Interesting. Okay, let's go. What side do we want to go first? Spellblade or Elementalist? Ooh, they got quite a few things on the outer ring. The game didn't want me to hit level 5, and the game doesn't want me to show you guys the mastery. Oh, that's funny. Oh no. Chazbot. Chazbot, people. We gotta wait till we see a server. How you guys in chat doing? What's going on? What are you guys up to? Don't say you're sitting here waiting to see the Wizard Mastery. I know you're full of baloney. Does the server show up automatically? Does anybody know? Does it passively pulse or refresh? I've been disconnected for inactivity. Ugh. Login boss. Oh. What are we gonna do, chat? We gotta go to their server and pay attention. If anybody happens to get in before I do, feel free to let me know. I would appreciate it. I just got back in, so it's up. What time was that? 2 minutes ago. Here we go. Okay, again, here we go. Into the mastery system. Alright, we'll do Spellblade first. So Spellblade, we typically do it by radials, okay? So we do radial 1, radial 2, radial 3, radial 4, radial 5. If it's on the line, we'll save it for the upcoming radial. Okay, so first radial, which is typically your level 5 abilities, it looks like you have two options on the left-hand side. You have Focus Strike, which unlocks Focus Blade. Slash your target with a magically honed edge, dealing 50% weapon damage and returning 100% of the damage dealt back to you as mana. Requires a bladed weapon. Cooldown is based on weapons. Oh, wow. Well, that's gonna be crazy. You're just gonna need to put a dagger on. Yeah, you get a 1.8 dagger, you're laughing. Returns 100% of the damage dealt to you as mana. So if you swing and hit for 20, you deal half the weapon damage for 10. Hang on. Slash your target with a magically honed edge, dealing 50 weapon damage. So 50% weapon damage. You have a weapon that does 11, like that, what's that dagger? The Worn? Is it the Worn dagger that has 11? No. Our warrior has it. Where'd it come from? I don't remember. Anyways, so if you had an 11 damage dagger and you hit a mob with Focus Strike, you would do, I'm guessing, 6 damage rounded up, or 5 damage rounded down, but you would get the full 11 as mana. Interesting. Oh no, dealt to you as mana. So it's whatever the mob hits us with? Wait a minute. Slash your target, dealing 50% weapon damage, but returning 100% of the damage dealt to you. So you swing on the mob for 11, but only hit for 6. The mob hits you for 6, you get 6 mana. Oh, I don't know about that one. Okay, whatever. Elemental Blast. Unlocks new abilities, Storm Blast, Pyroclastic Blast, and Frigid Blast. Storm Blast deals shock damage to the target, putting them in an electrified state. Pyroclastic Blast deals fire damage to the target, causing them to burn for some damage over 12 seconds. Frigid Blast deals cold damage, has a chance to freeze the target in place for up to 3 seconds. That's interesting. So 3 different uses for your 3 different elements. The electrified state is interesting because I'm guessing we're going to have some daisy chains or some combos based on electrified state. Okay, Radial 2. We have Elemental Reaper. Grants proficiency with great swords. Interesting. Wizards are going to be running around with cinder cleaves. Imagine. Oh, imagine you go on a raid to the Enclave, nobody's got a cinder cleave drops, and the first wizard goes, I'm rolling on it because I can use it. I want to be there. I want to be there for the first time that happens. That wizard's going to be so hated. So hated. It's only fair I should be able to use it too. I have Elemental Reaper. It says I can use greatswords. Elemental Reaper 2. Gain an additional 3% melee critical strike chance and 6% physical critical strike damage while wielding a greatsword. Gotcha. That's in the next radial. We'll skip it. Then we have Improved Elemental Arc. Reduce the cooldown of your Elemental Arc abilities by 2 seconds. Weren't they on like a 3-second cooldown? Those are our first 3 abilities, I think, on our yeah. Oh, 10-second cooldown. Gotcha. Okay. So from 10 to 8. Okay, and then up here we have Martial Arcana. Critical strikes with spells increase your physical damage by 3%, stacking up to 3 times. Yeah, but how long... is that even going to be worthwhile? You have to critical strike 3 times within the time frame it takes to stack the ability 3 times. Is that something wizards are going to be able to do reliably, or is it going to be RNG? I feel like this is a questionable branch to go on. Because you have to get a critical strike for it to hit. Have to get 3 critical strikes. Get it. Well, I mean, maybe, I'm guessing we're going to find critical strike increased chances throughout this window as well. Okay, so that's Martial Arcana. So Pinpoint Arcana. Increases your critical strike chance with spells by 1.5% and your critical damage. Well, there's my answer. Okay. And then this will level that. Increases your critical strike chance with spells by 3 and your critical damage with spells by 10. Okay. So if you decide to go down this line, you're definitely coming down this... I mean, everybody's coming down this line anyways. Every wizard's going to have Pinpoint. If you don't, you're just silly. Okay, then we have Improved Elemental Synergy. Increases the damage of Searing Blade and Frostblind by 10%. Additionally, Searing... If you don't want me showing the wizard mastery, just tell me. Stop disconnecting me. I'm teasing, of course, chat. I'm teasing. They're not intentionally kicking me out of the game. Although, I don't know exactly what's going on. I have a guess, but I'm not going to say. I am gonna say. It's the fireball spam. It's the spell spam. The spell spam is causing the server to drop. We had a conversation last night about the pathing for mobs, how they were doing those 10-second long pauses or redirecting themselves 50 yards away. The running thought right now is that they slowed down the mob's reaction times to lower the number of actions that are performed on the server every second so that it would speed up performance and slow down the gameplay. I think what's happening is they shook right with the right hand and then stabbed with the left. So they slowed down everything with the mobs, but unfortunately with the spells being sped up for the players, I think it's crashing the server. I think this is going to happen all evening. Ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. We're gonna keep going. I'll give it two more crashes, and after the second crash, we'll call it for this evening. This may go on all night, every 5 minutes. Okay, so improved elemental synergy increases the damage of Searing Blade and Frostblind, which are your starting spells, by 10%. Additionally, Searing Blade will gain 5% critical strike chance versus targets that are electrified or crystallized. So there you go. And Frostblind will gain a 5% critical strike chance versus targets who are burning or electrified. Okay, so the 3 states are electrified, crystallized, and burning. Yeah, okay. And then up from that, the first node is Improved Elemental Synergy 2, which goes from 10% to 20% for the initial damage of Searing Blade and Frostblind. Searing Blade will gain 10% critical strike chance versus targets that are electrified or crystallized, and Frostblind will gain 5% critical strike and 5% spell and armor penetration versus targets who are burning or electrified. Okay, alright. That's kind of interesting. That'll allow wizards to kind of focus if they want fire-based or cold-based. Because you could say, oh, well, you could put fire, cold, lightning at the same time. Yeah. But this specific upgrade right here can work one way with fire and another way with cold. So. Alright, so from Focus Strike, we have Rapid Focus. Reduces the cooldown of your Focus Strike ability by X seconds based on weapon speed. Then we have Arcane Binder 1 SB. Reduces the chance that your arcane cords is broken by damage. What is SB? Spell broken? Spell break? Spell blade. Maybe it's spell blade. It must be spell blade. Cannot combine with Arcane Binder EL. Elementalist. That's what it is. Okay, so spell blade on this side, Elementalist on the other side. Gotcha. And then the level 2 route, mana cost is increased by 25%, but it now has a 10-second cooldown instead of, 20 seconds? 18 seconds? Okay, and then from Elemental Blast, we go up to Molthrane's Messenger. Transforms your portal ability. We haven't even gotten to the portal ability yet. Oh no, it's a zigzag layout. It says level 12. These say level 5. Okay. Alright, we're not going to complain about it. We're just going to keep going. Alright, so at the end here, we have Molthrane's Storm Fist. Looks like he's squeezing a stick figure. Unlocks ability Molthrane's Storm Fist or Spell Gauntlet. Molthrane's Storm Fist. Gather an immense amount of electricity into your fist and slam the target, dealing high shock damage and consuming up to 5 shock focus, depending on how long the ability is charged. Has a chance to knock the target down. Requires a Spell Gauntlet to be equipped in the offhand. So Spell Gauntlet is a new weapon type. There you go. Rending ice. Your impaling ice rends the target's defenses, granting you 20%. You know, I'm gonna jump back on this spell gauntlet. This is interesting because if you played New World was pretty cool with the weapon types, but they actually had two weapon types. They had two glove types. There was the Void Glove, and there was, I think, the Ice Glove. And they had different uses between DPS, utility, and heals. But it was interesting that they had builds that required you to have one of those gauntlets on. So if you had a Void Gauntlet and... was it Nice Gauntlet? Maybe it was a Void Gauntlet and a Spell Gauntlet. I can't remember. It was two gauntlets anyways. But if you had the two gauntlets on, you had certain abilities. But if you had a sword and one gauntlet, you were something else. And if you had an axe and a gauntlet, you were something else. And they had a really cool mechanic with gauntlets being offhand weapons. Or weapons in general. Instead of like actual armor slot gloves. Hey, Dugbug. Ah, you play with the rapier and the gauntlet? Yeah. Void Gauntlet was pretty cool. Okay, Rending Ice, we did that. So Lacerating Shards is the upgrade from that. The shards of ice from Shattering Pulse cause the target to bleed for 40% of the damage dealt over 12 seconds. Damage scales with stamina. Interesting. This is one of the first times we've seen something scale based on your stat. Damage scales with stamina. So this is how they're going to work in the 4 stats that you're going to need to focus on depending on what class you're playing. They are going to tie stats to your abilities. Interesting. I say that because as a warrior, we have nothing that ties to our stats. I don't have any strength-based abilities, I don't have any dexterity-based abilities, but apparently here with the wizard, their damage, their performance is going to scale with their stat. Okay, then we have Elemental Cascade. If your Elemental Blast spells are a critical strike, refund 1 focus. Additionally, your Elemental Blast spells gain 10% critical strike chance under the following conditions. Storm Blast. Target is burning, frozen, or crystallized. Pyroclastic Blast. Target is frozen, crystallized, or electrified. Frigid Blast. Target is burning or electrified. Oh, we just read about those. Okay, so if you've already got those, you get this. This allows you to refund a focus point based on a crit. Okay, I got you. You don't have those warrior ability yet. Yes, yet. Arcane Deflection. You gain the ability to parry spells while wielding bladed weapons. This would be cool if you could, if you have the opportunity to parry splash damage, frontal cone, AoE, point blank, that would be amazing. If you have to be the aggro target in order for a chance at parry, this skill sucks. That's all I'm saying. That skill sucks. If you have to be the focus, because the odds of you being the focus in a group, I mean, if you've got a tank that can't hold aggro off of you, okay, maybe. But outside of that, I feel like you should be able to parry any spell damage coming your way. But maybe that's OP. Anyhow, next. Improved Razor Ice 1 for the Spellblade. Increase the snare potency by 7.5% and the duration by 3 seconds. That's cool. And the upgrade in the same radial, increase snare potency by 15 and duration by 6. So 9 seconds total. 22.5% stronger, which would probably factor towards resisting or breaking. This is Blazing Momentum. Your critical strikes with Fiery Onslaught restore 1 fire focus. We haven't even gotten to Fiery Onslaught. What is Fiery Onslaught? Who knows? Clash of the Elements, which is the upgrade to Blazing Momentum. Increases the critical strike chance bonus and damage bonus of Fiery Onslaught when the target is electrified or crystallized. Battle Mage 1. Cannot combine with studied defenses, so that's going to be the Elementalist, I'm guessing. Gain proficiency with Martial Cloth Armor. Additionally, you now gain spell critical strike chance from dexterity rather than wisdom. Which makes sense to wear martial cloth because you'll probably see dexterity more often on martial cloth than you will wisdom on other pieces of armor for a mage. Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, that's a neat little idea. Yeah, that's a neat little idea. And then that goes to... Okay, this is weird. An armor proficiency goes into a damage ability. Cinder Bomb. Blast your target with hot cinders, blinding them for up to 4 seconds. Damage caused will break the blind effect. Wait a minute. So you take the chance to blind a mob for all of 4 seconds, but any damage caused after you hit them, it breaks the blind effect. Meaning, the mob still has a chance to hit you for those 4 seconds, but the blind is only for the 4 seconds, which is what? 1 combat round? 1.5 combat rounds. I don't know how I feel about that one. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. Again, I'm not a wizard. I'm not a wizard, Harry. Okay, so we've done all of this radial. Let's go to radial number 3. So it starts with the second upgrade to Elemental Reaper, which is Reaper 3. Gain an additional 6% melee critical strike chance and 12% physical crit strike damage while wielding a greatsword. So it looks like greatswords, though. Well, greatsword and then sword and gauntlet, I guess, are going to be the 2 main spell blade loadouts. Improve shielding. Your shielding spells now grant you +5 resistance per rank of the spell. Oh, gotcha. So if it's like something 3, you get +15 resist. Okay, I gotcha. Okay, and then the upgrade from Improved Elemental Arc is Elemental Tactician. Your elemental damage gains 10% spell penetration. Okay. And you can get that right at the beginning because it's level 5. That'll help for soloing. Okay, then we go into Improved Crystalline Lance, which branches. Adds +1 to the maximum amount of crystalline lances you may hold in reserve. Okay, so the crystalline lances are summoned items, I guess? Temporary items? Improved Crystalline Lance 2. Your crystalline lances chill the target's blood and reduce their movement speed by 15% for 3 seconds. This effect's potency and duration can stack up to 4 times. Does not stack with other movement impairing effects. This effect's potency and duration can stack up to 4 times. So you can limit their movement speed by 60% for 12 seconds. Okay. Barbed Lances. Increases critical strike chance of Crystalline Lance by 5% and the critical strike damage by 25%. This might not be a mandatorily taken thing. Somebody's going to take it. Down here we unlock Thunderous Reverberation. After a critical strike versus your target with a spell or ability, you may follow through with a blast of lightning. Okay. I'm guessing it's still going to take your mana. It's not like a free shot, it looks like. Snow Clone. Oh, this is the one that throws out the target dummies at the moment. Unlocks a new ability, Snow Clone. Creates a fragile copy of yourself that taunts your enemies for a short time but is easily destroyed. As of right now, this throws out training dummies chat, but when they get it in game, it'll throw out an image of you. Sword and Gauntlet. Gain proficiency with spell... Oh, interesting. You gotta get to level 10 to get the Gauntlet. Well, yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I get it. It gives you something to strive for. Sword and Gauntlet 2. While wielding a one-handed sword and spell gauntlet, you gain 3% parry, 3% spell damage, and level divided by 2 to all resistances. Oh, so if you're level 12, you get 6. Oh, okay, I got you. So at level 50, you get 25 to all resistances, right? Okay. Okay, so then we go to the upgrades for Elemental Synergy. We have Elemental Attunement. When struck by fire, shock, or cold, there's a 15% chance to gain a focus. If your focus pool of that type is full, gain X mana instead. Okay. And then the third level is Elemental Attunement 2. The chance to gain 1 focus from elemental damage taken is increased to 25%. In addition, you receive mana equal to 10% of the damage taken. Okay, I could see that. Okay, now we're going to Elemental Synergy, the second branch. And we have Improved Elemental Synergy 3. Your Frostblind and Searing Blade each place 3 stacks of their debuff on the target instead of 2. Okay. That'd be cool for cold. Yeah, that'd be cool for Frostblind. I don't know about Searing Blade. Reclamation. If your target dies while under the effect of Searing Blade and or Frostblind, regain focus. Okay. Then we have the third upgrade to Focus Strike, which is Mana Letter. Oh, instead of Blood Letter. Okay, I gotcha. Excessive mana is cleaved from your target with Focus Blade. You gain some additional mana every 2 seconds for the next 8 seconds. Okay. Alright, so we had Molthrane's Stormfist unlock in the previous radial, level 20. The first upgrade is Disciple of the Tempest. Your mana current ability will now grant you a high chance to parry. Bonus shock damage on... it's all 3. A high chance to parry, bonus shock damage on auto attacks, and melee haste. Okay. Second upgrade is in the other radial. Storm Crush. Requires Molthrane's Stormfist unlocked. Follow up your Stormfist with another devastating blow. Only usable against targets that are crystallized or incapacitated in some fashion. Knockdown, stunned, etc. Requires a spell gauntlet. Okay? That's some nice little pairing work with other classes. You can watch for the animation of a knockdown and know when to use your ability. Rolling Thunder. Molthrane's Stormfist has a 100% chance to knock the target down and can be charged while moving. Damage dealt is spelt wrong. Damage dealt from your arraignment of the Tempest is increased and can now be triggered by ranged attacks and spells, and the damage of your Molthrane's Messenger impact is increased by 25%. And I say dealt is misspelled, chat, because there's supposed to be an A in the middle. That dealt, your shoulder, so you know. Okay, the upgrade from Elemental Blast in Radial 3 is Relentless Herald. Adds a second charge to Molthrane's Messenger and increases your movement speed by X% for 10 seconds when the spell is used. The speed enhancement diminishes over time. Charge is regenerated every 30 seconds. Oh, that's interesting. So if you happen to get aggro for whatever reason, that allows you to keep distance on the mob. Yeah, okay. Alright. Our next ability we unlock is Blade of the Cataclysm. Greatsword required. Blade of the Cataclysm. Leap to your target and strike it with an immense downward blow, dealing a high amount of fire damage. Gains additional critical strike chance versus targets who are electrified, crystallized, or frozen. Requires a greatsword. Okay, so you do all your you root, you debuff if you get one, you nuke as much as you can, and the second the root breaks, you hit Cataclysm and you fly to the mob. Here you go. That's how you start your fights. Benevolent Rebirth. Your Phoenix Fire ability will now affect up to 5 group members in your immediate vicinity at 33% effectiveness. I'm guessing that's some kind of fire damage shield. Or weapon proc. Okay, next ability is Infuse Blade. Unlocks new abilities. We get Infuse Blade Fire. Your melee strikes will deal additional fire damage per hit, and your spell damage is increased, required level 5. Then you have Infused Blade Frost. Your melee strikes have a chance to deal frost damage and... looks like Snare? Yeah, and Snare the target, required level 12. Infused Blade Lightning. Your melee strikes have a chance to trigger an extra attack that deals weapon damage, level 24. Greater Blade Infusion of Fire. Increases the spell damage bonus by 4 and fire damage on hit by 20% of your fire infusion. Okay. Smoldering Wounds, which is a build off of Blazing Momentum. Critical strikes from your abilities and spells that deal fire damage will cause the target to burn for an additional 40% of the damage dealt. Critical strikes from your abilities and spells that deal fire damage will cause the target to burn for an additional 40% of the damage dealt over the damage dealt over 6 seconds. I don't know why that extra damage is in there. The effect from multiple criticals accumulates and refreshes the duration. Okay. Elemental Onslaught. Now this is not Fiery Onslaught. Critical strikes with Searing Blade, Frostblind, Fiery Onslaught, and Elemental Blasts reduce the cast time of your next Flame Strike or Unstable Vortex by 25%. Stacks up to 4 times. Stacks will last until... So you can get up to 100%, so you can get an extra attack off Elemental Onslaught. Okay. That's interesting. Alright, what else we got? Improved Wards. Increase the amount of damage absorbed by your wards by 25%. In addition, they have a 30% chance to reflect spells of the same element back at their caster. That's cool. Improved Wards 2. Your wards now have a 60% chance to reflect spells of their type back at the caster. Level 20. Okay. And then finally, it looks like we have Clarity of the High Tower for the Spellblade. Grants a 10% chance on successful spell cast or melee attack to gain Clear Mind, reducing the focus cost of your next spell by 1. Oh. Yeah, I mean, less focus is less focus. That's a win. Spellblade's Alacrity. Reduce the cast time of your focus restoration dots by 100%. So that's like a free attack. Spellblade's Alacrity 2 decreases the cooldown 25%, okay. Keen Clarity. Clarity of the High Tower increases the critical strike chance of your next spell that costs focus by 50% and reduces the focus cost of your next spell that uses focus by 2. Okay, so that is handy. That one's handy there. That'll help with mana efficiency or spell efficiency. Heal on a 2-minute cooldown? Wait, what's heal on a 2-minute cooldown? Infused Blade, you mean? No. What was I on you were talking about heal? Hmm. Yeah, I'm not going to pay attention to that. Okay. Okay, tier 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we start with Cataclysmic Sundering. Increases the critical strike chance of Pruvenoth's Sundering by 5%, and the critical strike damage by 10%. This bonus is doubled versus targets at 20% or less health. Also increases the critical strike chance of Blade of the Cataclysm by 10%. We read Blade of the Cataclysm down here. Okay, then we unlock the ability Veyrul's Frozen Realm. With a great circular slash, deal damage and create an area of unforgiving frigid cold that has a 10-meter radius and lasts for 12 seconds. Targets in the area and those who pass through it are snared and suffer cold damage every 4 seconds. So that's including your party members. So don't cast Veyrul's Frozen Realm on the group. That'd be a bad day. It would rain. That'd be a bad day, chat. Unless you're fighting a mob that fears. Wizards, if you're fighting a mob that fears, make sure you're throwing that Veyrul nonsense on your group. First upgrade is Flash Freeze. Your movement impairing effects from cold spells have a 15% chance to freeze and crystallize the target for 4 seconds, okay? That's hilarious. The Cripplings in Lower Halnir's Cave have Flash Freeze. Or they did. I don't know if they still do. I'm pretty sure they still do. And it sucks. Sundered Glacier transforms your glacial upheaval spell, turning it into a very short-range cone effect. 5 meters, 45 damage. Strike multiple targets. Is that 45 damage? 45 degrees. It's gotta be degrees, right? Cone effect, so it'll be 5 meters, 45 degrees. Yeah, that's what it is. It's 45 degrees. Okay, so Veyrul's Frozen Realm. This is interesting. One ability unlocks another ability. Cryostasis. It's a toggle. Suppress your life signs with extreme cold, reducing the distance which some NPCs will detect you, as well as increasing your resistance to cold oh, I like this skill already. And frigid environments, but reducing your movement speed and avoidance. Consumes 1 cold focus per 4 seconds and X mana. It's like a little sneak. Permafrost. Critical strikes with cold spells reduce the cooldown of your Icy Barrier, Glacial Armor, Glacial Upheaval, and Veyrul's Frozen Realm spells by 2 seconds. In addition, your Frostblind now decreases enemy accuracy by 5%. Okay, full series of updates there. Glacial Armor transforms your Icy Barrier spell. You may now continue to act while the absorb effect is present and are also immune to spell pushback and interrupts while it persists, but the cooldown is increased. So use it at your own discretion. Elemental Undoing. You deal 10% more damage to elemental creatures and bypass 20% of their resistances. Makes sense. Exposure. Due to your extensive training with elemental magic, you are 5% less likely to be crit fire, cold, and shock damage, as well as by creatures of the elemental type. Oh, that's interesting. I like that modifier. Increases your chance to not get crit. Okay, so Molthrain Stormfist is required to unlock Storm Haze. Slam the ground and call down a localized storm of lightning and mist that causes enemies to lose sight of you and removes you from combat. Also threat lists. The concealment effect lasts for up to 18 seconds, but is broken by any damage taken or ability and spell usage. Requires 4 shock focus and cannot consume focus of any other type. Okay, so you can't use the shared method with focus, okay. So you have to be really intelligent about when to use this then. Interesting. I like that it's a D threat. Ride the storm. After casting Unstable Vortex, if the ability is used a second time, you'll become a lightning bolt and fly to its epicenter. Must remain within 50 meters to do so. Okay, so now we have dashed lines. What was dashed lines again? It was either or, right? Yeah. Okay. So Blade of the Cataclysm, you either go left, or you go right, or I guess middle. Or right to a rough. Okay, so if you go left, it goes all the way up there. So if you go middle, Phoenix Rising, we read about that earlier. Your critical strikes with fire spells and abilities will cause your heal for 10% of the... Oh, is that what you meant by the heal? Gotcha. Cleansing Flames. Your Phoenix Fire now cleanses 1 poison, 1 disease, and 1 bleed. That's cool. Yeah, it's a self-heal. Interesting. Okay, and then you need Blade of the Cataclysm to unlock Eruption. Requires Blade of the Cataclysm unlock. If your Blade of the Cataclysm was a critical strike, you may perform a powerful upward follow-through swing with your greatsword that knocks the target upward and sends an eruption of fire forth from the ground to deal heavy fire damage over 12 seconds. If they implement the spell animations for what they're describing here, combat is going to look absolutely phenomenal in Pantheon. Can you imagine? You swing up with your greatsword, a crater opens up at the bottom and shoots fire up towards the mob that's in the air. Come on. Come on. Are they actually going to pull that off? I don't know. Okay, and then from Infused Blade, we have the upgrade of Greater Blade Infusion Cold. So you get fire first, cold second. Guessing this is lightning? Yep. Increases the damage dealt by 20% and snare potency by 10%. Okay. And then finally, for Tier 4, you unlock Electro Step. It's a toggle. Imbue yourself with lightning speed, consuming 1 shock focus for 3 seconds to grant yourself 35% increased move speed. The effect requires concentration, thus taking significant damage or losing control of your character will cause the effect to end. That's like a temporary mount. Although it is 3 seconds. Well, 1 shock for 3 seconds. So if you claim all 5, 15 seconds of run speed at 35%. 15 seconds is, yeah, that's interesting. Because focus comes back, it looks like focus comes back. I'm not going to say quick, but it seems to come back pretty reliable. That's a neat little transportation ability. Okay, Radial 5. Glacial Press. If your target is under the effect of Veyrul's Frozen Realm, Glacial Upheaval does extra damage and refunds 3 focus. Elemental Executioner. Increases the critical strike chance of Crew Venoth's Sundering by 5% and the critical strike damage by 10%. If the target is slain by the spell, regain 1 of each focus type. Oh, that's interesting. Instead of just 1, you get 3. Omnimental Whirlwind. With a great blade wreathed in fire, lightning, and ice, you strike the area around you every half second for 3 seconds, dealing elemental and weapon damage. During this time, you are immune to normal crowd control effects and take reduced spell damage and have 25% parry chance. I mean, you get a wizard to level 40 and get them a Cinder Cleave. Are you kidding me? Who are we kidding here? That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Get him to level 40, give him a Cinder Cleave. Rise from the Ashes, Spellblade. If you were reduced to 0 or less health by an attack and Phoenix Fire was available to be used, you may activate it despite your current state. Oh, interesting. Okay, Shared Infusions. Your Elemental Blade infusions now affect your allies' weapons at a reduced effectiveness. Functions as an aura. Fire grants 60% of the spell power. Yeah, 60% of the spell power bonus and a lesser amount of fire damage on melee attacks. Cold grants a cold damage proc and snare. Lightning, on melee hit, chance to make an additional attack for 60% weapon damage plus strength. That's interesting. Master Spellblade's counter. When parrying an attack or spell, you automatically execute a counterattack and deal weapon damage of the attack type that was directed at you back at the target. For spells, this has a 20-meter range. This cannot occur more than once every half second. Okay. Omnimental Blast. Release a gout of entwined shock, fire, and cold in your frontal arc from your spell gauntlet. The damage dealt is split evenly between the three types. Costs one of each focus type. Targets struck by the prismatic elements are blinded and their movement speed is reduced by 50% for 6 seconds. Non-periodic damage caused will break the blind effect. Requires a spell gauntlet. So if you have a spell gauntlet, you don't have a greatsword. Interesting. Okay, so that was the Spellblade side. Now again, we don't have the center power-up abilities. I'm assuming they're figuring out what's going to go here. So now on this side, the right side, we're going into the Elementalist, which is the non-weapon-based wizard. First two abilities, Tier 1 or Radial 1. Critical Mass unlocks Ashes to Ashes, Rolling Thunder, and Frozen Mana, and they're all on shared cooldowns. Get that at level 10. Improved Razor Ice. Increased snare potency. Oh, wasn't there a snare potency on the other side? Improve Razor Ice. Improve Razor Ice, yeah, okay. Alright, tier, Radial 2. I keep wanting to say tier. Unwavering Mind. Gain 30% casting pushback resistance on your spell casts. That's nice to have 30% right off the get-go. Nobody else gets 30% so far. Then we unlock the ability Wild Arcana. Open your mind and body to the flow of mana that permeates all, sourcing your mana and focus from everything around you to power your spells. No focus or mana cost for 18 seconds. Cannot regen focus while in this state. Okay, that's crazy. Level 15, alright. Improved Cantrips. Your elemental arrow cantrips are immune to pushback and have a 50% chance to resist interrupt effects such as glint. Your elemental burst cantrips gain plus 5 meters in range and 5% spell penetration. The upgrade to that would be Improved Cantrips 2. Your elemental arrow and burst cantrips benefit from an additional 40% of your bonus spell power of that type and deal 20% more critical damage. This other studied defenses. So this is the one that goes against Battle Mage. Receive 100% of your intellect as bonus armor class while wearing cloth armor. That's cool. That's a neat little idea. Hey Haley, I've been hearing wizards are one-shotting mobs. Something about Infused Blade? What's Infused Blade? Infused Blade. Your melee strikes will deal additional fire damage per hit and your spell damage is increased. Requires level 5. Melee strikes chance to deal frost damage and snare. Level 12. Trigger an extra attack that deals weapon damage. Level 24. So Infused Blade. So let's say fire. Fire damage. And then you come here. Increases the spell damage bonus by 4 and fire damage on hit by 20% of your fire infusion. And then it would go out here. Well, this is... No, nobody's level 45. I don't know. Not off Infused Blade itself, but maybe it's piggybacking off of something else here. But nobody's above level 30. Like nobody's 45. Do you know if these wizards have a certain weapon equipped, Haley? Do you know? Not sure myself, just read the wizard thread. There was mention of Infused Blade and being able to one-shot mobs. Don't know. Infused Blade doesn't have enough of an increase. I mean, you get Infused Blade at level 5, so I guess if you're fighting sub 10 mobs, it would have to be the fire. Although lightning, having a chance to trigger an extra attack, that could be everything if the sword is high damage. Or if the weapon is high damage, I should say. What's a high damage one-hand sword? I don't think there's a great sword for like 15 levels, right? There's a couple of great hammers. There's a few great axes. It's a good great sword that drops 1 to 10. The Warden's Blade, is that two-handed? No, the Warden's Blade's one-handed. No, it isn't, it's two-handed. Maybe the Warden's Blade from Halnir's? I think that's a great sword. I mean, we had that axe drop last night at the fort, and it had 44 damage, which is disgusting. On a level 20 mob. Or 21 mob. 44 damage is crazy, and 2% crit chance. But I don't know what would do enough damage to one-shot something at level 10. I don't know. I do not know. Yes, that's what I didn't go into detail, Haley, but that's what I was thinking from last night. Like I kept thinking, like I couldn't wrap my head around 44 damage. Okay, so up from studied defenses, we have Kaleidoscopic Array. You are adept at manipulating your kaleidoscopic crystals, using them to deflect damage as well as distract. Attacks have a 20% higher miss chance against you while under its effect. So is that a buff? It's by itself. And it's not a large icon. Maybe it's passive? Yeah, it must be passive. Improved shielding. Your shielding spells now grant you +5 per rank of level. Okay, same as the other side. Now we have Adept Conjuration. You are adept at conjuring great amounts of magic into magic that maintains its potency over long distances. Your conjuration spells gain 10 meters maximum range and 10% spell penetration. Then we have Energizing Finale, which comes off of Adept Conjuration. Your critical strikes with shock spells restore one focus of a random type and some mana over 6 seconds. Goes all the way out. Beyrul's Teachings, Conjuration. Oh my goodness. When your cold projectile spells deal damage, they affect the target with a 15 snare. With a 15 snare for up to 6 seconds. What? When your cold projectile spells deal damage, they afflict the target with a 15 snare for up to 6 seconds. That must be 15% snare? It's gotta be percent. So they afflict the target with a 15% snare for up to 6 seconds. Your cold projectile spells gain 3% critical strike chance and 5% critical strike damage. And then, if your target is struck by one of your fire spells that costs focus while this effect is active, the frozen shards within the target will detonate, consuming the snare effect and knocking the target and those within melee range of them down for 3 seconds. If your target is struck by one of your shock spells that costs... that shouldn't be capitalized. Okay. If your target is struck... sorry, chat, I'm really anal when it comes to English. It bugs me. If your target is struck by one of your shock spells that costs focus while this effect is active, it will electrify the frozen shards and rip the target through the air to your location. If your target is struck by one of your shock spells that costs focus, while this effect is active, it will electrify the frozen shards and rip the... My goodness, man. Word wrap or something. Was I on? I think it's target, chat, but I'm not sure. Rip the target through the air to your location. So if we hit a mob with a shock spell, it will electrify the frozen shards in the mob and bring the target through the air back to us. The return of the unraveling frozen mana grants one focus of a... Right. I'm not sure I'm understanding that one correctly, chat. I don't know what's ripping the target through the air. Why would the wizard have a spell that would hit a mob and pull the mob towards them? Why would they have a yoink? They wouldn't. So am I saying they throw the crystals out because they're electrified? The crystals come back to the wizard like a boomerang? And when they come back, they refill a random focus? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's it. Let's say that's it, because the first one doesn't make sense. Okay. Next cross upgrade is... Well, actually, let's go down here. Adept Expulsion. Oh, these are all the schools of magic, then. Adept Conjuration, Adept Expulsion, Adept Evocation. Right, okay. Cold, Lightning, Fire. Gotcha. Adept Expulsion. You are adept at managing the flow of mana and elemental magic as it rises within you. Your Expulse Element spell has its ramping mana cost reduced by 15% per step. Adept Evocation. Well, actually, no, let's go with the upgrades. So, Adept Expulsion working with Lightning. First upgrade is Piercing Arcana. Your Rising Flame, Ice, and Lightning spells grant 5% spell penetration per stack. Oh my goodness. Krushnek Teachings, Conjuration. Volatile embers cling to your target and obscure vision, reducing their chance to land critical strikes by 3%. Your fire projectile damage spells gain 3% critical strike chance and 5% critical strike damage. If your target is struck by one of your cold spells that costs focus while this effect is active, the volatile embers will detonate and consume the effect, dealing damage and snaring the target and those nearby them. If your target is struck by one of your shock spells that cost focus while the effect is active, the volatile embers will detonate, blasting the area with shock and fire damage. If you are within the area of effect, you are energized by the pyroclastic storm and gain 10% spell haste for 12 seconds. Oh, that's interesting. That's from using shock spells. So shock is all about haste. I mean, it makes sense. It's lightning. Oh, you can't take it with evoke. Oh, gotcha. Okay, interesting. Okay, so then down here on fire, we have Adept Evocation. You are adept at wielding direct destructive magic. Your direct damage evocation spells cast half a second faster, have plus 5% critical strike chance, and deal 10% critical strike damage. It's all about critical strikes. So don't get your excitement up for, yay, damage across the board. That's not the case. You got a crit. Did we read this one, right? Nope, we didn't. Okay, when your cold direct... Oh, so this is Veyrul's teachings on evocation. When your cold direct damage spells deal damage, they afflict the target with frostbite, slowing the target's actions by 5%. Your cold direct damage spells gain 3% critical strike chance and 5% critical strike damage. That would be similar to fire. If the target is struck by one of your fire spells while this effect is active, it will be consumed, shattering the ice, reducing movement speed, and causing the target to bleed for a short time. If the target is struck by one of your shock spells while this effect is active, it will be consumed, shattering the ice and stunning the target for 3 seconds. The small fragments of ice return to you and grant you some damage absorption that lasts for 10 seconds. Okay? Molthrain's teachings on evocation. Your direct damage shock spells cause the target to receive feedback, dealing some shock damage to them when they attack or cast spells. Your shock direct damage spells gain plus 3% critical strike chance and 5% critical strike damage. If your target is struck by one of your fire spells that costs focus while this effect is active, the polarity will be reversed, causing attacks against this target to have a high chance to deal additional shock or fire damage. And for those who can't tell, because of these large-ass paragraphs, the text is like 1/3 the size of everything else. And it's somewhat cursive, so... If your target is struck by one of your cold spells that costs focus while this effect is active, the electrified shards of ice embedded in the target cause it to bleed mana, restoring some to you every 3 seconds for up to 12 seconds. Okay, that one's interesting. It's got some utility to it. Crew Venoth's teachings on evocation. When your fire direct damage spells deal damage, they cause the target to burn for some additional damage over 9 seconds. Your fire direct damage spells gain 3% critical strike chance and 5% critical strike damage. If your target is struck by one of your cold spells that costs focus while this effect is active, the burning effect will be consumed and the target will be silenced by scalding steam for 3 seconds. If your target is struck by one of your shock spells that costs focus while this effect is active, a pyroclastic storm will surround them and hinder their actions, reducing their attack and cast speed by 10% for 10 seconds. Allies who are adjacent to the storm gain bonus fire damage on their next successful melee attack. Okay, then up from there we have Chilling Flourish. Your cold spells that apply movement impairing effects have a 20% to deep freeze the target, rendering them immobile for up to 6 seconds. Okay. So immobile means it's a root, but they can't cast or do anything either. Then we have Spellweaver. Dealing shock damage has a 10% chance to make your next non-shock spell cast 20% faster. Dealing fire damage has a 10% chance to make your next non-fire spell have 10% increased crit chance. And dealing cold damage has a 10% chance to make your next non-cold spell have 10% spell penetration. Then we have Focused Elementalist. Increases the amount of focus gained from your damage over time spells by 1 and increases the damage they deal by 20. Okay, that's not bad. Improved Familiars. When you cast a spell that matches the element of your familiar, you have a chance to be refunded 1 focus. Oh, that's cool. Arcane Binder, or your root. Reduces the chance that your arcane cord spell is broken by damage. The effect also gains resistance to dispel. Ah, yeah, that'd be great for Hangor. Lingering Bindings. When your arcane cord spell breaks, the target has 90% reduced movement speed that decays to 0% over 6 seconds. Stable Mana 1. The mana from which you weave spells is expertly cast and can reach further than usual. There's no space there. Increases the range of your spells by 5 meters and chance to hit by 3%. Then we have Stable Mana 2. Increases your chance to hit with spells by 3%. Okay, to Radial 3. We start with Unwavering... Oh, we already read that. No, we didn't. Unwavering Mind 2. Gain 30% resistance to interrupt effects such as Glint or Shield Bash. That's cool. Unwavering Mind 3. Gain an additional 30% of pushback resistance. Okay. Empowered Wards. Your elemental wards absorb 25% more damage. When do you get that? Level 10. Kind of a help with solo, I guess, but not really. 25% by the time you hit level 10? It's a small amount of defense, I guess. Empowered Wards 2. When your elemental wards absorb damage, gain 50% of that damage as bonus spell power to that element. That's cool. Improved Cantrips 3. When consuming focus, there's a 10% chance that your next elemental arrow or elemental burst cantrip will have its cast time reduced by 100%. In the case of channeling for elemental arrows, the full amount of arrows will be fired in a swarm at the target in a short amount of time. Does not require channeling. Okay? Then we have Focus Channeler. Your channeled beam spells grant you 1 focus of their damage type on the final tick of damage, so it has to go to completion. Raising Focus. Your channeled beams and elemental arrow spells deal 20% increased damage against targets afflicted by your focus generating dot spells of other elements. They did a really interesting job here on making the wizard not focus on one of the 3 magic schools. You kind of have to focus on 2 minimum. That'll be interesting to see what spells wizards put in their hotbar depending on what they're doing. Because it seems like there's not going to be a meta loadout. It seems like it's going to be based on wherever you are in the game. That's interesting. I like that idea. Inner Storm. Unlocks a new ability called Inner Storm. When you deal a critical strike with a shock spell, or are the victim of critical damage, you may unleash a burst of lightning around you that knocks away enemies. Okay. I don't know how useful that's going to be, but I get it, especially for soloing if you're trying to run away. Impaction, which is an upgrade from Conjuration. Your cold projectile spell can now consume up to 4 cold focus when fully charged and deals more damage. Okay. Cold projectile spell may now consume up to 5 focus when fully charged. Yeah, okay. 3 abilities here. Looks like Cold Lightning and Fire. Gaze of the Frost Giant. Send a Raising Beam of Frost and Ice forth, dealing cold damage in a line. Freezes targets in place for up to 3 seconds. Damage caused may break the effect. Upgrade to Piercing Arcana is Improved Expulsion. Rising Element increases the critical strike chance of Expulse by 5% per stack. Breath of the Storm Beast. Blast the area before you with crackling lightning and mist, dealing shock damage and electrocuting them for up to 4 seconds, rendering them unable to act. The effect is removed if the target or targets take damage. Up from Expulsion Adept, we have Rise from the Ashes for the Elementalist. We read Rise from the Ashes Rise from the Ashes from the Spellblade. So on the Elementalist side, if you are slain and Phoenix Fire was available, you may activate it while dead. You return to life at 10% health and gain the regeneration of Phoenix Fire. That's an interesting little ability. It kind of stops people complaining about rezzing in combat, I guess. A wizard goes a little too crazy. Instead of paying for it the hard way, they pay for it the medium way. So they die, but they have the opportunity to revive themselves. Blazing Follow Through. Your critical strikes with fire spells cause the target to burn for 40% of the damage dealt over 6 seconds. 6 seconds, that's what, 3 combat rounds? I guess. It's not great that it's 6 seconds. I feel like that should be longer. Pyroclastic Blowback. Your critical strikes with fire spells cause fiery mana feedback that restores some health to you over 6 seconds, based on the damage dealt. Aura of the Salamander. Blast the area around you with fire and ash, dealing fire damage and causing targets to burn for 9 seconds. See, even that dot has 9 seconds instead of 6. No upgrades to this, though. Interesting. Oh, no upgrades to any of these. Just requirements. This isn't on the line, so we'll do this. So, Expulse Arcana. Unleash all of your rising element and elemental flare charges? Elemental, I don't know what that word is. Flare, maybe? Guys, you gotta make bigger text windows, will ya? You got room to move stuff down. Make the skill point cost button, bar, rectangle, whatever, smaller. Holy smokes. And no, I don't need glasses. I see it perfectly fine, but the cursive writing is just that ugly. Elemental FL. Unleash all of your rising element and elemental, I don't know, charges to force. My goodness, man, my goodness. I need a magnifying glass. This is ridiculous. I can see perfectly fine, chat. The writing is just, oh my god, this is so... I complained about this with the Warrior. They had a couple of speech things with the Warrior. Can I make this bigger? Is that even gonna clean the text up? Oh my goodness. Okay, hang on a second, chat. Unleash all of your rising element and elemental... I'm guessing if it starts with FL, it must be flame. Because the only other word I'm kind of getting from this is fling. Like fling or flick. But that's not it. It's got to be flame. So elemental flame charges to force away. To force away hostile entities and hold them at bay behind a dome of pure omnimental magic for up to 5 seconds. As long as the dome holds, hostile entities cannot pass through it. The dome can be targeted and attacked, and has health equal to 25% of your maximum mana plus 10% per stack of rising element and or elemental. That's not flame. I don't know what word that is, chat. FL. Oh, that's a W. It's flow. Elemental flow. Well, sir, what's wrong with me? Don't say glasses. That's not this. I read everything else fine. Elemental flow consumed. It is more resilient to magical attacks and takes 40% reduced damage from them. Okay, there you go. So it's a force push. It's a Jedi force push on multiple targets. That's what it is. My goodness. Okay, what was that right there? Alright, Clarity of the High Tower. Grants a 10% chance on successful spellcaster melee attack to gain Clear Mind, reducing the focus cost of your next spell by 1. Effect lasts for 10 seconds. Okay. Crystalline Barrage. Transforms your Crystalline Spears spell. That's the spell we read on the other side that summons the items that you throw. While active and with charges, each time you cast a spell that is a critical strike, one spear will automatically be fired at the target. If all charges are consumed, the spell does not go on a longer cooldown, unlike the base version. Oh, interesting. So they're extra little snap. They're extra little flicks of damage, I guess. Cold-Hearted Opportunist, which is an upgrade off of Evocation. Striking a target with shock or fire damage that is under the effect of Deep Freeze or Crystallized will shatter the effect and deal a high amount of additional damage. Okay. Master Spellweaver, which is the upgrade to Spellweaver. Increase the chance of your Spellweaver procs by 5% to 15% total. Okay, so 10% by default, 5% to 15%. Gotcha. In addition, the effects of the procs are increased by 10%. Okay. Then we have Improved Razor Ice, increase the snare potency. Okay, you're right. Then we unlock Dimensional Shift Arcanery, and I'm guessing this is the teleport. You hastily open an arcane portal and transport your group to the Mage Tower in Thronefast. It's an evac. Or I shouldn't say it's an evac, it's a call home. Unstoppable Force. Each time you spend Cold or Fire focus, you have a chance to gain a stack of Unstoppable Force. Each stack reduces the cast time of Unstable Vortex and Unrelenting Lightning by 50%. Unstoppable Force can stuck? It's supposed to be stack. That's a typo. It says stuck, S-T-U-C-K. That's supposed to be stack. So Unstoppable Force can stack up to 2 times, and the stacks last until consumed. There's 3 typos, chat, that we found on this screen. Shackles of the Looming Tower. Bind your target and those near them with shackles of pure magical force, reducing their movement speed for up to 20 seconds. Then we have Shocking Retreat. You have no space, there should be a space between have and a. You have a 10% chance when taking damage, that's 4 errors. When taking damage to gain Shocking Retreat. Your movement speed is increased by 50% initially, and the effect decays over the course of 6 seconds. Okay. Alright, Radial 4. Unrelenting Elements. When your elemental arrows deal critical damage, it causes an additional arrow to manifest and strike the target. These additional arrows cannot trigger further manifestations on critical hits. When your elemental bursts deal critical damage, it causes the target to take additional damage equal to 20% of the damage dealt every second for 3 seconds. Okay. Magnanimous Channeler. The cooldown of your channeled beam spells is reduced by 30% and they deal 20% more damage. I'm interested to go to the 5th radial because that one ability in the middle doesn't have a graphic, which means it's not even in the game, I don't think. Unrelenting Lightning. Manifest a condensed ball of lightning near your target. The ball will pursue the target and deal increasing damage over time to them as long as they are near it. When the spell reaches its pinnacle, it will detonate. The spell can be activated a second time to detonate it early. Thunderclap. The detonation of unrelenting lightning stuns nearby targets for 3 seconds. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool ability, unrelenting lightning. When do you get that? 25. Slumbering Fury. Manifest a high amount of fiery energy and concentrate it into the ground. The next hostile target that steps on the location will be razed by an explosion and a gout of flame that knocks them down. Wait, we just read... What did we read about? That's on the other side. Knocks them down and deals high fire damage every 1 second for 3 seconds. The spell will persist for up to 30 seconds and only one may be active. Oh, the other one launched him in the air, right? Yeah, the other one... So on the Spellblade side, you launch him into the air with an underhand sword attack. This one, you slam them into the ground, apparently. Which is kind of interesting, because where's the force coming from? Force be coming from the ground. Not a tractor beam. Spiral Ice. Unlocks a new ability. Create a vortex of cold that unleashes a flurry of spiral ice lances into your target every second for up to 5 seconds, penetrating a percent of their armor. For every focus consumed by this ability, one spiral lance will be unleashed every 0.25 seconds. Lacerating Ice. Critical strikes with your Spiral Ice spell cause the target to bleed, taking damage every 3 seconds for 9 seconds. Each additional critical strike with the spell increases the damage per tick. Greater Omnimental Surge, which is an upgrade off of Expulse Arcana. Consume all current stacks of Rising Fire, Ice, and Lightning, and Elemental Flow to blast your target with raw... Oh, okay. That's the big spell right there. That's what's going to get wizards their aggro. Is that spell. When do they get it? Level 30. Oh, that's a bad time to get it. Go into Smoldering, a wizard fires this off, it gets ripped apart. I could see it happening. Tank goes to taunt, taunt gets resisted, wizard goes bye-bye. Keen Clarity. Clarity of the High Tower increases the critical strike chance of your next spell that costs focus by 50% and reduces the focus cost of your next spell that uses focus by 2. So Clarity's worth taking. For sure. That'll probably be taken by every wizard. Omnimental Affinity. For the next 20 seconds, all of your focus is considered omnimental and consumed at the rate of 1 for 1, regardless of which element type it is. Okay, that'll allow you to get spells off without eating your own health. Empowered Lightning. Your shock spells gain an additional 20% from your bonus shock damage stat. Phase Shift. Your portal spell now frees you from movement impairing effects and you are harder to hit with attacks and spells for 6 seconds. Wait, didn't we just read the portal spell sends them back to the tower? That must be a short distance teleport, is it? Empowered Frost. Your cold spells gain an additional 20% from your bonus cold damage stat. No space there. It's 5 errors. Synergistic Sundering. True Venoth Sundering deals increased damage versus low health targets. If the target is slain by it, your next spell cast within 24 seconds that costs focus has its cost reduced by 2. Siege Caster, which is an upgrade from Stable Mana. You are able to cast your projectile-based spells over incredible distances and maintain their potency. All projectile spells gain plus 5 meters to max range. Plus 5 meters to max range? What's max range? I thought plus 5 meters would be plus 5 meters past max range. Oh, no. If max range is 20 meters, then you get 25. Never mind. I got it. I processed what I read wrong. I got it. Empowered Flames. Your fire spells gain an additional 20% from your bonus spell. So that's 20% for each of the elements. Welling Fury. Each time you spend shock or cold focus, you have a chance to gain a stack of Welling Fury. Each stack reduces the focus cost of Flame Strike by 1. Welling Fury can stack up to 5 times, and the stacks last until consumed. Okay, so that allows you to use Flame Strike more often. Alright, Tier 5, or Radial 5. The final frontier. Elemental Cycle. When your next spell is of a different element than the last, gain 5% spell. Oh, is this what you meant by cycling your spells earlier? That might have been what you meant there about cycling your spells. It looks like you get this perk at level 40. The effect can stack up to 3 times, so as long as you rotate through the elements, you can build up to 15% spell haste. That's pretty cool. Although it's probably bad for aggro. Just saying. Arcana Unleashed. Conjure a relentless swarm of elemental projectiles for up to 5 seconds. Every focus spent produces 2 projectiles of the element type. Okay. Banish Elements. As a master elementalist, you are adept at manipulating all forms that the elements may take. Bend elements may be used on creatures of the elemental family or type to push them out of phase with the material plane for 20 seconds. While this effect is active, the creature will receive no damage, but will be unable to act. Interesting. Elemental Rejuvenation. Critical strikes with fire spells reduce the cooldown of your Phoenix Fire by 3 seconds. Critical strikes with cold spells reduce the cooldown of your Ice Barrier by 3 seconds. Critical strikes with shock spells reduce the cooldown of your Mana Current by 3 seconds. Masterful Attunement reduces the damage penalty of your stances by 10% and increases the damage reduction by 10. Wait, what are your stances? I haven't read any stances. What stances do wizards have? You got a fire stance, a lightning stance, and a cold stance? I don't even know what those would be. Gaze of the Tower Mages. Blast your target with mixed elemental energy that bypasses a significant portion of resistances. Deals damage every second for 3 seconds after the cast is complete, as elemental chain reactions ignite. If used while Clarity of the High Tower is in effect, gain an extra hit chance. Grandmaster Spellweaver. You excel at exploiting the gaps in magical defenses garnered by catching the opponent off guard with rapidly changing elements. When a spell critical strike follows a spell of a different element, its critical strike damage is increased by 25%. Well, there's definitely a lot of damage behind the Elementalist. It's a lot of damage. It will be interesting to see what happens with aggro. Not so much the Spellblade. I don't know, I mean, saying that wizards are going to be one-shotting stuff, or that they are one-shotting stuff currently, however they're doing it. You know, I don't play a wizard, so I'm not sure offhand. But I really like the idea. I like the idea of the Spellblade. Choosing between a Spell Gauntlet and a Great... I mean, Spellblade... The Gauntlet and the Greatsword would only be for the side of the screen anyways, right? There's no weapon reliance on this side. It's just pure spell upgrades. The interesting thing is the tier 5 abilities up here require you to have 35 points. So if you have 35 points already, you put a point here, that's 36. Maximum points are what, 50, right? So you have 15, so if you were to try and get 36 points here to get up here to unlock this, you would have 15 points to use over here to get 50. But you're going to need to burn a portion of those 15 when they come up with whatever spells are supposed to be here in the middle. And if they do it like the warrior and other classes, there's probably going to be 10 modifiers here. Maybe. I want to see people play. I'm probably not going to play Spellblade, but I would like to see people play with the Spellblade and see how they do. Obviously not right now, because I'm sure half of this stuff doesn't work. But it would still be interesting to see how the Spellblade plays. Now, currently, we have 5 points, right? mean, we need a spell gauntlet. Where do you get a spell gauntlet from? Is it a spell? Do you buy it? Does it drop? I've never seen a spell gauntlet. Slash your target with a magically honed edge, dealing 50% weapon damage and returning 100% of the damage dealt to mana. Got to. Feeble static burst. Okay, we're not going to bother with that here. Okay, chat, we're going to call the stream now so I can get a bit of work done. We're a couple hours early, but again, like I said, I really just came on this evening so we could go over the Wizard Mastery. We've done that. Hope you guys have been intrigued with what we've seen. Again, the Spellblade seems interesting, but I'm going to need to watch other people play the Spellblade to see how they do with it. So, you know, maybe in the near future, somebody gets up there and streams with a Spellblade. Elementalist seems pretty straightforward. I feel like that's going to be the go-to for all the damage. At least that's what it seems like. There were a lot more modifiers on the right-hand side for critical strike and critical damage versus the left. Although, I do want to see what the spell gauntlet is. I don't know if we're going to have a bunch of them in the game, if there's going to be different tiers, if it's a summoned item spell. No idea. Anyhow, I'm going to head out so I can get some work done. You guys have yourselves a good evening. I don't know exactly what the game plan is for tomorrow. Depends on how much I get done tonight and tomorrow before stream. I'm hoping to do a regular stream tomorrow. But again, like I said, I want to get this project done by Saturday so I don't have to think about it over the weekend. Regardless, you guys have yourselves a good evening or a good day, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. Take care.